What's go for no mean? I've seen that phrase posted before, but never knew what it meant. So when I was in multi-level marketing, I was coached go for no. And what it means is you're supposed to keep sending out messages to prospect people. And for me, when I was in, that was a lot of unwanted, unsolicited messages, primarily on Facebook, some on Instagram, but my focus was on Facebook. So I'd be sending out a message, hey, Tony, I know we don't know each other, but I see that you live in Tucson. I always use Tucson as an example. I'm looking to expand my business in Tucson. Do you keep your options open to making some extra money on the side? If not, no big deal. Stuff like that. I'd send out hundreds of message of these. So we were taught to go for no. So what we want is to shift our perspective from trying to get somebody into the business or to sell a product, because most people are going to be rejecting you. So if you're thinking like, well, I'm really excited and I'm going to ask this person and then I'm going to be rejected, then I'm going to feel really bad about myself. So instead, if I shift the perspective and my goal is to actually get somebody to say no, but you're not trying to be rude to get somebody to say no, but the goal is, it's like, I'm going to focus on getting as many no's as I can, because that means I'm closer to getting a yes. It's part of these high control groups to keep you in action and just to keep doing unnecessary work, to keep you so busy, to prevent you from seeing what you're a part of, which is a multi-level marketing fraud. And you feel really empowered by doing this. Going for no, it's not just as simple as sending out a whole bunch of messages every day and then calling that a no, because most people won't say no. Most people are too kind and they feel really awkward. They're like, I don't want to hurt their feelings. I just don't want to say no. So they'll say something like, well, my partner, my spouse, my husband, my wife, they're not really into that, which is then we're taught to overcome that objection. It takes a while for somebody to actually say no. And we will follow up with a person over and over and over again until they actually say no. It's actually really hard to get somebody to say no. And I was taught to follow up until they die. And also, no doesn't mean no. It means not right now. So even if somebody does say no, you're not supposed to take them at their word. When people make excuses or they just try to deflect, that's considered, well, I'll just put them on another list and I'll follow up with them in 6 months' time. The multi-level marketing coaching cult I was part of, the leader of this thing, he'd have this big story. He'd brag about this. He's like, I got 20 no's every day, which it's not just sending out 20 messages every day. You might have to be following up with like hundreds of people, sending out hundreds of messages each day just to get 20 people to say no. It's like impossible, because most people are just really kind. They don't want to say no. So that was part of the lore. If you can show up every day and for 6 months get 20 no's a day, you're going to be a millionaire. That's kind of the thing. So it's meant to motivate you, to keep you doing all this unnecessary busy work, looking at everybody as a prospect, everybody to just see if they're open and give them an out. And of course it doesn't work. It just annoys a lot of people and it isolates you and it alienates anybody in your life. You know, you constantly look at everybody as a target, and then you feel like, well, you're not working your business enough because here's this benchmark of like, this person claims to have received 20 no's a day. I'd be lucky if I get 1 no a day, because most people, if you know, they'll just block you before they say no to you. They just don't want to be bothered. People in multi-level marketing have written books, Go for No. I think Eric Worre wrote one, and it's just the same concept. Some of these multi-level marketing coaches will do training and they'll start off by insulting everyone. Insulting their participants and their paying clients is common. They hold everybody in contempt because they're all just a bunch of fucking assholes. You have to be, if you're going to be defrauding people, thinking that if you pay me money, I'm going to teach you how to succeed in a fraud, in a scam designed where over 99% of people must lose. No, we need to teach you that it has nothing to do with it, you participation in a scam. It just has to do with your mindset and that you need to go for no. So they've written these books and they'll do these trainings and they'll say, well, some people will say you need to focus on the positive and go for yes, but that's really not a good tactic. That's just not teaching you to become bulletproof. There is something to be said for experiencing a lot of rejection over and over again. It's like doing something that you don't want to do, and then you get good at it, you become consistent at it, and something that you didn't really like to do at first, it doesn't bother you anymore. So I remember when I was doing triathlon and swimming in a really cold lake with my wetsuit on, I'd always get really nervous. It took me a while to get comfortable with swimming through the weeds. Sometimes it depends on what lake you'd be swimming in, those really creepy dark weeds that would just kind of wrap around your ankles. And then eventually over time, I did it so much that it didn't even bother me anymore. And I remember looking back thinking how far I'd come. It had been terrifying. And just from doing something that I didn't really enjoy doing, I didn't really like to do, I ended up enjoying it. So the concept can be helpful, but it's twisted in this way to get you doing activity that's just meant to keep you in a scam longer. Going for no, which translated for me into sending thousands of messages, unwanted messages out to people. It never became easier for me. I detested it. I hated it. It wasn't at all like swimming in a cold lake and then improving my skills with open water swimming and then ending up enjoying it. I always hated it. It felt wrong. It felt disgusting. And yet I kept thinking that there was just something wrong with me, that this was, I was sabotaging myself. I had limiting beliefs that I needed to work through. I like to create content instead. When I left multi-level marketing, this wasn't a skill that helped me out. I don't like to reach out to people. If I've done interviews on a podcast, I don't talk. I'm not the one reaching out to people. They reach out to me. I'm just so grossed out by all the people that I messaged when I was in MLM. It's just one of those things that I don't like to do. Now, I have reached out to 3 people to have on YouTube here. One was Chris Shelton, who speaks out against Scientology. One was Susan Dones, who's become a really good friend. She was one of the Nexium 9, and then also Robert Fitzpatrick. It took me a lot to reach out to them because I just won't do it. I just feel like I'm bothering people. And so, yeah, if there is ever like a podcast or somebody that wants to do an interview, I won't be initiating that conversation. That's why. Girl I love and I like.